Hello, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of NottsPharmCast. In fact, I think our first guest appearance podcast. We have with us today Michelle Freer, who is Transformation Manager for Nottingham City Place team, and the lovely Mike Jones, pharmacist, and our Services Implementation Manager for Community Pharmacy Nottinghamshire. We've got Michelle with us today because Michelle has been working extremely hard over the last few weeks and months to prepare Nottingham City in particular for Know Your Numbers Week, which is organised by Blood Pressure UK, which takes place from the 8th to the 14th of September this year. So I'm going to hand over to both Mike and Michelle in a moment. Mike's just going to talk a little bit about blood pressure checks last year and the fantastic job that community pharmacists did. And then Michelle will talk to you about all the things she's organising, what's going on during Know Your Numbers Week and after to support people to have their blood pressure taken. So, Mike, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Kirsten. Well, first of all, just wanted to welcome Michelle Free. It's a delight to have you, Michelle. Michelle has been working so hard in the background to bring to life the Know Your Numbers Week, as Kirsten said, is happening in September. But for me as well, so importantly, working in a really collaborative way with community pharmacy. And I think this is probably the first time where this has actually happened on a proactive basis. So just a huge thank you for that, Michelle. And I also wanted to say thank you to all of you out there that were actually taking community blood pressure readings last year. What was amazing that as in Nottinghamshire last year, that's City, Nottinghamshire and Bassetlaw, we actually supported 56,000 patients by taking blood pressure readings from them last year. And I think that's a huge success. So just a huge thank you.
Absolutely. I think the next thing I'd like to talk about after thanking community pharmacists the last year, even more to do, I think, this year and next year and beyond with the blood pressure check service being part of Pharmacy First now. So can I ask you, Mike and Michelle, why is it so important that people have their blood pressure checked? Why should they go and have this done?
Well, Nottingham, like many urban UK areas, has above average rates of cardiovascular disease, leading cause of death and disability. Blood pressure checks can identify undiagnosed hypertension, enabling early intervention. Nottingham has areas of significant deprivation that are strongly linked to the higher rates of smoking, poor diet, obesity and lower uptake of healthcare services. And these are all risks of high blood pressure.
Okay. Thank you. Mike, same question to you.
Well, I guess it's really important. First of all, the patients don't know they have high blood pressure because it's most of the time there are no symptoms associated with blood pressure. So when you have a high blood pressure reading, it does come as a bit of a shock. So people are walking around not really knowing that they have this issue. And I think the second thing is that having high blood pressure actually aggravates and can cause other diseases in the body. So it can cause, there's an increase in heart attacks, it can cause strokes, and it can actually cause kidney damage and kidney disease. So actually catching high blood pressure early and having it treated actually helps reduce the chances of you having those other issues.
So I guess that's why, and I'll ask you this question, Michelle, if I can, is that's probably one of the reasons, or some of the reasons why Know Your Numbers Week is so important in this context. Could you just talk to us, Michelle, about some of the things that are happening locally in the city of Nottingham that you've been working on?
Yes. So across Nottingham City, from the 28th of August, so next Monday, there will be posters advertised on 45 Nottingham City transport buses. So these buses will have our poster on there with the QR code that takes you to the Nottingham and Nottinghamshire ICB website. And that website will be packed with information about blood pressure, where to go to get your blood pressure checked, and also different activities that are taking place across the week. So, for example, we will have a charitable organisation organisations hosting barbecues, as well as cooking demonstrations within that to talk about what is good food and nutrition, and then also having blood pressure checks taken. There's going to be different events taking place whereby charities are holding heart health focused discussions, and again undertaking blood pressure checks. We've got Thriving Nottingham going around the whole of the city to all different events, giving every single person a raffle ticket to enter them into a prize draw. So every person that has a blood pressure check will have a raffle ticket given to them. In addition to that, we are also giving away posters, leaflets, pens, QR code stickers and key rings with the QR code on, advertising Know Your Numbers Week. This will be sent to all 50 of our Nottingham City pharmacies alongside all different organisations, including Thriving Nottingham, the different charities that are available, and also different organisations such as Halford's car garage as well that are supporting the campaign.
Brilliant. That's great. Great to hear that pharmacists are going to perhaps have a pack arriving, are they? I think we might come on to this in a minute, and I'm perhaps over to you, Mike. So what kind of role can community pharmacy play in the things that Michelle have talked about? I know Michelle's talked about lots of city pharmacists. How can they help? How can they get involved, do you think?
Well, I think there's a number of things. We'll come on to the top tips in a moment. But the beauty with community pharmacies is that they are accessible. Many are open long hours. And they are easy to find and easy to have a blood pressure check done, rather than perhaps having to wait for an appointment to see their GP. So it can happen very quickly, which is a huge benefit because pharmacists are on the high street. I think the other thing that's going on though is because of the work that Michelle has done, it's just a superb opportunity for patients in Nottinghamshire to see, or in City, to actually see all this advertising and to raise awareness, because the awareness of high blood pressure is really quite poor in patients, and that's what we find, and particularly poor when you consider certain communities as well. So part of this whole process is to try and reach into certain communities as well, which are hard to reach. And of course, the other thing that doing this can do, it can not only can it increase the footfall into community pharmacies for the blood pressure checks, but it can also help patients understand what pharmacies bring more generally, especially around the self-care agenda, and particularly around the prevention agenda that's mentioned so much in the 10-year plan. So everything fits for this particular week. And I would just urge all of our community pharmacies in City to get behind the initiative. Yeah,
absolutely. Community pharmacy can play a very key role in all of this by the sound of it. We should guess, Michelle, if you could tell us about these various marketing materials, which I believe are free of charge. And you have been busy this morning, I think, putting some packs together for pharmacists across the city. What can they expect to see, and how can they use those assets in their pharmacy? What would you suggest?
So first of all, look out for a A4 brown envelope, because that's what all the pack will be in there. Within the pack will be A3 posters, A5 leaflets. For the posters to go up in the windows of your pharmacy, and also the desk of your pharmacy as well, and leaflets on the desk. The QR code stickers are quite specific. Why, you may ask, QR code stickers? This is because we want to be able to reach and target specific individuals, and we know that there's community pharmacy do send out or deliver to some people the pharmacy sorry,
that's okay,
can't think of the word.
Prescriptions. Yeah.
That's fine.
Say that again.
That's fine. Just start that bit again.
Okay. So why QR code stickers, you may ask? That is because we know that with community pharmacy, they do actually deliver particular prescriptions to those at home, and we want to target those individuals at home. So the QR code sticker being put onto the bag, again, will prompt that targeted approach to ensure that every single person in our Nottingham City population is getting that message, being able to know what Know Your Numbers is, and also know what are we doing in Nottingham City, where are we advertising, where are we available, where can they go to get their blood pressure checked. So again, look out for that A4 brown envelope.
Okay, watch out for a brown A4 envelope, everybody. Sounds like it's got some goodies in there for you. And I think if you're perhaps needing some more of those, we will put a link at the end of this podcast and on our social media and on website as well. So you can order some more perhaps from Michelle if required. I know we just talked about, Mike, and you touched on a couple of things there, really top tips for success. I think from a marketing perspective, from my perspective, which is my hat, there's some great materials coming out for you that you can use within your pharmacy to promote this to your patients and people who are passing by. So definitely jump on that if you can. Any other things to add, Mike, for top tips for pharmacists to really make the most of Know Your Numbers Week and beyond? Because obviously we know blood pressure checks are here to stay. They're part of the pharmacy first bundling, as we mentioned earlier. So any top tips, Mike?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so I guess firstly and simply it's about being ready in the pharmacy for the influx or potential influx of people coming in into your pharmacy that may not come in normally. And on the back of that, actually helping those patients have a lifelong relationship with you as a pharmacy because you're delivering great care. Going back to what Michelle was talking about earlier, there's a lot of activity going on across Nottinghamshire. And Michelle has actually provided a spreadsheet on the ICB website, which pharmacists can actually check as well for their locality. But we're partnering with Thrive Nottinghamshire as well. We're working with them, and they'll be taking blood pressure readings, and any high blood pressure readings will be referred into community pharmacy, as well as people seeing the backs of buses and other social media activity. I think it's a good thing to do as well in your own pharmacy is to actually identify those patients who are over 40. You can actually take their blood pressure in this. It doesn't have to be done in this particular week, but I think understanding who those patients are, who is eligible for a blood pressure check, and making sure that you do follow the specification guidance, and then invite those patients to attend your clinics perhaps in that week or afterwards. But that work can be done now ahead of time. And of course, when patients are attending for blood pressure checks, there's no reason why you can't mention to them or ask them about flu vaccinations. Where are they having their flu vaccination this year? Point. Yeah. Talking about the other services that pharmacy can actually offer for them as well, just in that one conversation. I mentioned team earlier, and I think that the importance of your team in this can't be underestimated. Your team do need to know that Know Your Numbers is going on that week, the importance of that, and also how can they flag patients to the pharmacist to have a great conversation with them. And a member of the team then, if they're trained, can actually do the blood pressure check as well. So that's the second part about the staff, who is trained to take blood pressure checks. So it takes it off the pharmacist who's in to allow them to do other things. And I guess the final top tip would be, if you're in this particular week, GPs know all about Know Your Numbers. There may well be an opportunity for you to have a chat to them to say, look, if you have any ABPM requests, then why not send them across to me as a community pharmacist, and I can carry those out for you.
And implement those. That's brilliant, Mike. Really useful. Is there anything you want to add there, Michelle, or do you think we've covered everything?
I think you've covered everything. I think there's a lot of things happening over that week, as Mike's alluded to, and we are working and collaborating with a lot of different organisations across the city. I think what I've talked about is what I'm obviously going to be sending you, and what we've been able to pull together as part of Nottingham City Place-Based Partnership. But what I'm also going to ask is what you can do for us. So first of all, if I can ask that you share our video. So we've pulled together a really, really good, comprehensive 2-minute 20-second video. The reason it's 2 minutes 20 seconds is because it's for social media purposes. We've been really fortunate to be able to have Margaret Kelly, MBE, Olympian swimmer, actually partake in these videos and have her blood pressure taken. They're going to be shared nationally with British Heart Foundation, Sport England, but we'd be really great if local community pharmacists can also do the same, because it's also about supporting the campaign but also advertising their service, not just within the pharmacy but beyond. But in addition, within all of those blood pressure checks that you're taking, if I could ask for just a simple tally of how many you've taken that day or week and how many you found that were high, just so that we've got a bit of an indication of what to expect from across the city, what I've been able to find over that week, and also as well how many blood pressure check information would be going over to GPs to place in the records, because we know that that will take a little bit of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, a brilliant first guest appearance podcast, I think. Michelle, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And obviously the one and only Mr. Mike Jones as well. Absolutely fascinating. And I think a really, really important initiative that we are definitely behind. We've looked at this over the last few years, but I think there's so much going on this year that we really need to take advantage of, and we can all play our part. And I think we'll leave you with, if you've got any questions for either Mike or Michelle, please don't hesitate to get in touch. We'll again put some contact details on at the end of this podcast for everybody. But thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you soon. We'll hear from you soon, hopefully. Take care.